Welcome to this explainer on the AI arena. Look, we're witnessing a massive shift in tech right now. In mastering artificial intelligence, it absolutely requires getting off the sidelines. AI is 100% a participation sport. You just can't understand the game if you're only watching other people play.
It feels like everyone's got a really loud opinion on AI these days, right? Some folks claim it's the greatest thing since the internet, while others are completely convinced it's just overhyped nonsense. But there's this massive chasm between shouting an opinion from the bleachers and actually having hands-on daily experience down on the field. Because the truth is, very few people are actually down there taking the hits and doing the real work. So to help us navigate all of this, we're going to dive into some insights from the One Idea newsletter, specifically the work of Trevor Nell. He put this material together to spark ideas for a community called Difference Makers. These are people who meet up weekly to figure out how to make a tangible, real-world impact. No fluffy theory here, just pure, actionable insight.
And Trevor, he isn't just tossing out hot takes from the cheap seats. As the author of Confessions of a Serial Entrepreneur and co-founder of Wisdoms, the guy is relentlessly hands-on. Over the last year alone, he's literally logged thousands of hours working directly with AI. He's been running experiment after experiment to figure out exactly how regular people can use this tool to actually move the needle. What's really wild is that his research reveals a completely fascinating paradox. The folks with the absolute loudest, most fear-driven opinions, they almost always spend the least amount of time actually touching the technology. They're the spectators. On the flip side, you have the builders. They're driven by genuine curiosity and this relentless urge to just experiment. They aren't paralyzed by whatever scary headline is trending today. They're way too busy testing the limits themselves. The divide between these two groups is incredibly stark. While spectators are burning all their cognitive energy arguing over news articles and predicting doom, the participants are taking a totally different route. They're quietly using AI as a sort of collaborative sounding board. They're getting in there, tweaking their prompts, and quietly building remarkable things, while the rest of the world is just endlessly arguing about it. Now, spectators love to demand a simple black and white answer. Is AI strictly good, or is it strictly bad? Well, the truth is, it's both. The good news is that it can be astonishingly useful, produce absolute sheer brilliance, and, let's be honest, make you look pretty clever. But the bad news? It can just as easily spit out total nonsense, waste your whole afternoon, and make you look completely foolish. Ultimately, it all comes down to your skill level. Think back on our history with tech for a second. We didn't learn how to use the early internet or those clunky first digital cameras by kicking back and reading newspaper articles about them. No way. We learned by logging on, getting completely lost, clicking on dead links, breaking things, and then trying again. Hands-on experience has literally always trumped theory. And AI is exactly the same. Well, with one pretty massive exception. That exception is velocity. AI introduces this huge new variable into the mix. Unlike, say, a digital camera that stays exactly the same the moment you buy it, AI is updating almost daily. The ground is literally moving while you're trying to walk on it. Because of this compounding velocity, your education with it can never really stop. Honestly, the absolute biggest mistake you can make right now is assuming AI is just a skill you learn once and you're done. Because the tech changes at warp speed, beginners often stumble into this classic trap, the anatomy of an AI fail. Here's how it usually goes. A user types in a super vague prompt, they magically assume the machine can somehow read their mind, they inevitably get a really weird output back, and then, boom, they immediately conclude the whole tool is completely useless. And that leads us perfectly into what the industry calls an AI hallucination. Look, think of AI like a brilliant intern. This intern has read every single book in the entire world, but they suffer from severe amnesia. They don't know who you are, what your business does, or what tone of voice you like. So if you don't give this machine precise context, it panics. It makes a desperate statistical guess to fill in those massive gaps. And that totally wild guess is what we call a hallucination. The reality is, AI rarely fails because the machine itself is actually broken. Those weird, funny outputs you see, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real issues are lurking way down beneath the surface. It's us asking the wrong questions, totally failing to provide the necessary context, and foolishly assuming that the very first answer the machine spits out just has to be its best one. Seriously, blaming artificial intelligence for a bad output is exactly like blaming a hammer for breaking a window instead of building a beautiful house. The hammer itself, it's completely neutral. The real story isn't about the tool at all. It's entirely about the intent, the skill,
and the execution of the person swinging it. I think we focus way too much on the intelligence of the machine and not nearly enough on our own human intent.
But once you finally learn how to swing this hammer by using better, intentional questioning, you unlock an incredible matrix of benefits. I mean, you can build a sharp professional strategy for your career, scale your small business, streamline your messy everyday logistics, and even find genuine fulfillment by solving super complex problems. The utility of this thing literally spans across every single facet of life.
Okay, but here is the absolute biggest surprise that came out of Trevor's thousands of hours of experimenting. AI doesn't just teach us about artificial machines and lines of code. Instead, it actually acts as the ultimate unblinking mirror. Working closely with AI fundamentally forces us to take a hard look at ourselves and upgrade our own human intelligence in the process. Think about it. If you want to get really good at using AI, you can't just outsource your thinking to it. You have to actively hone your own communication skills first. It forces you to level up your decision-making, your creativity, and yeah, definitely your patience. Why? Because the machine literally can't know what you want unless you know exactly what you want first. It demands precise human articulation. And the real beauty of all this, you don't need a computer science degree or some deep academic understanding of neural networks to thrive here. Not at all. The new qualification simply demands curiosity and a solid commitment to daily experimentation. It's just one prompt, one experiment, one conversation every single day.
By committing to that super simple daily loop, you steadily build up your confidence. You start recognizing the hidden patterns. You actually learn how to speak the language of the tool. And day by day, you successfully transition from being a fearful spectator into a highly capable builder. Truly, hands-on experience is the new and, quite frankly, the only AI qualification that really matters now.
So whatever you do, please do not let someone else's loud, fear-driven opinion become your education. The future is absolutely not going to belong to the people shouting from the stands. It will firmly and undeniably belong to the builders, the people who are quietly getting in the game, getting their hands dirty, and becoming just a little bit better at using these tools every single day. As you step into the arena to refine your own communication with this flawless, infinitely patient, digital sounding board, I want you to consider this final provocative thought. Will training so heavily with AI ultimately make us lose our patience for messy, unpredictable human interactions? Or, by forcing us to be so much clearer and more intentional with our words, will it actually teach us to be far better communicators and listeners in the real world? It's a fascinating question, right? So, get out of the stands, try an experiment today, and let's find out together.